Hey gorgeous bunch, thank you so much for joining me today for this month's favourites and updates video. I'm really excited about some of these things. Oh, I can't wait to talk about them. I am trying out another new mic. This one is a clip-on one. I'm hoping it's going to sound okay. This is the first time I'm using it to film with. I did see a comment. Oh, let's just take a moment for me to apologise for not getting back to all of the YouTube comments. I know there are some that I haven't replied to. I am sorry. I will be doing that this weekend. I did see a comment from somebody who commented saying that the sound that the mic makes might not be the mic, that it might be the port. And I think that might be right. And if that is the case, then this one might also make the crackling noise. What is going on with my throat? But if that is the case, at least I know what's going wrong and that it's not the 3 different mics that I've bought, and actually it's the port that they're going into. So hopefully by the end of this video, I'll know. I mean, by the end of me editing this video, I'll know. Anyway, let's get into the actual purpose of this video, and that is for me to talk about my July favourites and July updates. And I feel like I've not long filmed a June favourites and updates video. What is going on with my throat? Oh. I've literally just gotten over being ill. I don't want to be getting ill again, like, honestly. Anyway, I've also got a little personal update for you, not just a plant update. So if you're interested in hearing about that, please watch to the end of this video where I will share some news with you. Let's get into the plants. Oh, before we do get into the plants, favourites for this month that are not plant related. These pump bottles for my fertiliser has life-changing, honestly. I set these up in my week of plant chores video, which whew, that was a filming task and a half, but I quite enjoyed it, and I think you guys enjoyed it too. If you did, please let me know and I will do more of them. But this is my Orchivit, and then this is my CalMag, and honestly, these pumps have made fertilising so much easier for me. Like, the amount of times I spot a plant is thirsty and I just fill it up with some water, that happens all the time. But these now, they're living on my plant shelves. I just pump them into my watering can, fill it up, and it's done. Whereas before, I would be like trying to find the fertiliser, kind of measuring it out, spilling it everywhere. It's just made it so much easier. It's reduced the amount of steps, which for me, life-saving. And the plants, I think, are really enjoying it as well. So definitely recommend pump bottles. I did say in the week of plant chores, like, I've measured it out, so I know exactly what like a pump is, and I know how big my watering can is, and so that makes it easier. I think if I had a smaller watering can, I might get a little bit confused. So I'm just putting that information out there. To the plants. So I have a new plant to share with you that I'm pretty sure I haven't shown on my channel yet. I got it, when did I get it? Maybe at the beginning of July. I've had it for like a few weeks now. It's not a like uncommon one. It's one I found in a garden centre. I got it at the Brackenwood Garden Centre here. I think it's considered Bristol. It's like on the outskirts near like Lee Woods, Portishead Way. That garden centre. I've been there a couple of times. But this is my, is it a Pachira? Aquatica? I'll have the name on the screen. I think that's what it is. On the pot it just says Pachira. Again, I don't actually know if I'm saying that right. That might not be how you say it. I'm just reading it phonetically. I've seen this plant a couple of times on a few different like channels. Specifically, I remember seeing it on Harley G's channel, and she's got I can't remember what the variegation's called, like maybe a galaxy variegated one. So it's like speckled with this beautiful variegation, and I love it. And every time I see these in garden centres or in like the equivalent of our big box stores like B&Q, I have a little look, and I look to see if I can find some variegated ones, but I can't ever find any. But I saw this one in Brackenwood Garden Centre, and I thought, I actually do really like the leaf shape. Like, I find it so interesting. It did have this kind of damage on it, and I did thoroughly check it for pests. I will just have another quick little gander while we're here. I do always check for pests from that garden centre, because even though I do like it and I almost always buy a plant when I go there, I have seen, I don't think it's necessarily the garden centre, I think it's probably the nurseries that they get their plants from. There's often thrips around, so I do always check, and I haven't seen any thrips on this. And I have checked several times, and like I said, I've had it for, I think it's probably been a good 3 weeks at least now, so if there were any eggs they would have hatched and I'd be seeing them, and I'm just not, so pretty sure we're pest free. I really love it. I got this white pot for it. I'm planning on doing a DIY on this plot. I want to make it checkerboard. I love checkerboard at the moment, big fan. So I'm thinking of spray painting it. I just need to figure out how to do that, because it needs to be the right size squares for it. Like, I'm a bit fussy with my checkerboard, and for the size of the pot it needs to be the right size squares. So if you're interested in seeing a spray painting checkerboard process, be sure to subscribe if you're not already, so that you don't miss that. I will be filming the process. But back to the plant. I have never really had a plant like this, like with the big chunky trunk. I'm a little bit scared. Like, do these rot? Like, I'm a little bit scared. I don't know anything about the care for this plant. So if you've got one and it's living a really happy life, please let me know what kind of conditions you keep it in and what your watering schedule is. I'm all ears. I'd love to hear, because I'm just enjoying it so much. I love the way the leaves face. It just adds like a little statement, and I've got it on the floor in front of my TV, just this way. And it doesn't, like, it's not, I don't know, it just fits in perfectly. Like, it's eye-catching, but it's not distracting, and I really like that for floor plants. I'm just really enjoying it. I think it's happy. It's got some new leaves coming. Look at this little guy. There's a new leaf there. There's another one just here, and here there's like, can you see this? There's like a new stem sprouting, and down here there's another one. Like, I'm really intrigued to see this grow. There was also a new, can you see? You might not be able to see. There's a little green growth point there. Like, could it just keep pushing out new growth points from this trunk? Like, I don't know. But I love it. So that's one of my new plants. I say one of my new plants. Yeah, I've had a few new plants this month. This is one of my new plants. I really love it. And how much was it? Let me see. $12.99. Okay, if you're new to my channel, you will have never seen my Philodendron gloriosum. It was a plant that for a period of time I really loved. So this was one that I had previously imported from, was it from Indonesia? It might have been, yeah, it definitely is. I'd imported it from Indonesia for the shop. I used to have a plant shop, don't anymore. And this particular one, like, completely, all the leaves went, all the roots went, it went back to a complete, like, just a chunk. And I rerouted it, it grew some leaves, and I loved it. And I got attached and I couldn't sell it. And so I kept it. And the love I felt for this plant was just like, I was just so proud of it. It's gone from an ideal environment in Indonesia and it'd come here. I think it'd probably been imported in winter, so yeah, I think a lot of our imports for the shop were in winter time, so like real shock to the system coming here. And it was regrowing and it was loving life, and those heart-shaped velvety leaves, I loved it. And I repotted it into, like, so it was in a glass jar in some moss, and it got to the point where I was struggling to get it out of the glass jar. I'm pretty sure I've got this filmed, and I think I'd filmed it for Instagram. If I can find it, I'll like put the video here of me repotting it, putting it into a bigger pot. It was really happy. It didn't stay in that bigger pot for very long. I think that was actually one of the first plants I like properly potted into no drainage. I think it was. And then I got a storage container for because it's a crawling plant, isn't it? Philodendron gloriosum are crawlers. So I'd got a storage container that I think it was supposed to be for the fridge. And I potted it in there, and I was pretty pleased with myself, because those what are they? Is it oblong? Shapes aren't my strong point. Those long rectangular shaped containers, plant pots, they're expensive. But this storage pot was was it even £2? It might have been £1.90, maybe £2.50. It was not expensive at all, and I was really, really pleased with my clever thinking there, saving me some money. It was clear, and I like potting in clear vessels. It worked. and then quickly I started neglecting it. I didn't water it enough. It got some weird patches on the leaves. I'm now just going to show you those. It got these weird patches on these leaves. And immediately I fell out of love with it. I wasn't quite sure. I was like, is this a fungal thing? I don't know. Was it a classic in my collection where I've let it dry out, roots have rotted, I've given it a drink? No. I've let it dry out, the roots have died, I've given it a drink, and then they've rotted, like a dry rot situation. That's often what happens in this household, not gonna lie. But yeah, this leaf is upsetting. I find it really, really unpleasant to look at. And then it started happening on this one here. And then this one came out, and it was it's got the weird shiny, I don't know, when they come out, and I don't know, it's from when they're unfurling. I'm not sure what it's called. I'm sure it's got a name. But this one came out, it's much smaller than the others, and I hadn't found a home for it, and it's been on the floor, basically under my TV stand, which is actually a coffee table. I'll put in a clip of where it's been living. It's been pretty much in the dark, and I've chucked it some water. If it's been lucky, I can see some rotting roots in here. But I realised probably at the beginning of July, it was pushing out a new leaf. I was getting to the point where I was like, I need to do something with that. I'm probably just going to take the leaves off and cut it into chunks and start again. Or I was going to sell it. I don't particularly like crawling philodendron. They just annoy me. Their growth pattern, go up. You're taking up so much floor space. Or shelf space, or wherever you've got it. It's just inconvenient growing pattern, in my opinion. But it's popped out a new leaf. And that new leaf came out facing the wall, and in the video clip I'm hoping you can see how dark it is. There's no light there. I've been considering buying myself the what is it called? Is it LHT or LTH? Light temperature and humidity monitor from Daryl. What is he called? The Houseplant Journal. Wow, I'm having an absolute blank. My mind cannot think of his. I'll put that information on the screen, because I'm curious to see what light levels my plants get, was basically what I was going to say. I would love to know, because that's got to be no light. Anyway, let me show you. The reason I'm talking about it is to update you on this new leaf. I mean, for one, what is this growing pattern? This, I can almost get on board with. They've drooped down because they were sat on the floor and probably trying to stretch out to see some light. I could put this on a shelf, maybe remove this leaf, put this on a shelf, and it would be okay. I could accept that. What is this one doing? Where is it going? It's so long. This petiole is so long. And I mean, the new leaf hasn't completely I'm having to lean back so far. The new leaf hasn't completely unfurled yet. But what I'm baffled. I'm baffled as to why it's even happy enough to be pushing out a new leaf. I'm baffled at the size of it. If I just really not very gently unfurl it, I do love the like colour gradient they get when they're unfurling. I absolutely love that. It's completely normal, don't worry about this. It's like just as they slowly unfurl, the leaf starts to like, you know, photosynthesize, but this bit still hasn't had its chance, so that's why. But I'm really surprised by the size of it, the length of the petiole. I'm assuming that's because it's trying to find some light. I still don't know what to do with this. Like, here's the stem. So it'd gotten, like, this is quite chunky, this bit. There's some really good like cataphyls that need to be pulled off there. Like, I don't know what to do with this plant. Let me see if I can show you. So I did spot, can you see this? Yeah, this rotting root here. But there's some healthy ones too around. I don't know what to do with this. It's near the end of the pot as well. What's that, like another 1, maybe 2 leaves? Help, what do I do? Like, do I remove this leaf, try and encourage this petiole this way, and then maybe put it on my plant shelves? Because that could look quite cute. Or do I chop it up and start again? I have got like 3 nodes at the beginning here without any leaves on, so I could do that. And because it's a crawler, all of this section has rooted into the substrate, so I could chop it and it probably wouldn't affect the size of the leaf growth, that is. Oh, I don't know. Oh. Let me just show you this and I'll stop talking about it. I've just pulled this cataphyl down. Look how small the next, oh, hang on. Look how small the next growth point is. And it's like on the wrong side. Like, why is that growth point there? It should be on this side to carry on crawling this way. Like, why is it turning around? Maybe it's turning around. Maybe it's gonna like crawl back this way towards the light. Yeah, I mean, there's your update. I don't know what to do with this. Next, I want to talk about my Anthurium papillilaminum. I'm pretty sure in the last updates video I showed this new leaf coming out and I talked about how I was so worried about this plant because it had root rot. I'd repotted it and the cataphyl had like shriveled up, like I didn't know what was going to happen with it, but I wanted to show you the new leaf. So for those who haven't ever seen it before, this is the old leaf, not looking great. It is normally much darker than this, but it did have root rot. It was dying at one point. I have now, with this new leaf coming out, this is now pointing, because obviously they're going completely different ways. This is now pointing against the wall, so it's definitely not getting a whole lot of light. I am considering just giving this the chop now because it's just, we've got a new leaf. I think it's probably about time. I'm a bit sad that you can't see how, like, what a gorgeous colour this is. It's not really showing on camera how red and how deep these leaves can look. I did put in a clip of a previous leaf that this put out, and it was really, really dark. I don't think this one is quite as dark as that one was, but it's definitely not picking up the colour on camera. You can kind of see, you see how like, hang on. You see how like pinky red the back is? I think that's a little bit more true. It's probably a little bit more vibrant in real life, but the front's definitely not picking up. I'm so happy to see this. I really like, I don't know how big it's going to get. I am spraying it every day to try and help with expanding. I don't know what happened with this little funky corner, and I don't know why it's got a couple of little tiny pinprick holes. Hang on, I'm really struggling to hold this. It's got a couple of like tiny pinprick holes up here, And I don't know why, like I've literally been spraying it 2 to 3 times a day, like in the morning, in the evening, and sometimes twice in the evening. So I'm a little bit upset that it's got this weird little dent on it. I think a little bit of the cataphyll got stuck to the leaf, and that's what that is. But it's still beautiful in my opinion. I can't wait to see it fully grown and hardened off. I love the size of the lobes and the sinus. I'm very excited. I don't think the sinus, this one's quite a wide sinus on this one, but this one's not quite as wide, but it's still cute. We have got new roots happening, like here. There's a pot extension on here for those that aren't familiar with this plant. Look at those roots there. I have spotted some rotting roots just down here. Can you see this bit here? I'm not going to worry about those. There is a great white myco in here as well, and I think that will just help kind of remove any of that. But the healthy roots, there's loads of healthy roots, so I'm not at all worried about that one rotting root that I can see. I will keep an eye on it though. There's definitely something odd going on with my voice. My throat's a bit crackly. I did go through a phase of making these little plant tags for all my plants, and they definitely don't all have them. And this, I did put one of the fungus gnat traps in there because it did have some fungus gnats going on. I still haven't ordered my nematodes. I really like the black fungus gnat traps. They just don't stand out as much as the yellow ones. They kind of blend in with the plant shelves and like the collection. They don't I don't know what's going on with my voice. They blend in, they don't stand out. I really like them. I got them from Amazon. My Amazon storefront is linked down below, and I think I've got these linked in the I can't remember what it's called, like pest prevention treatment section. So check them out if you're interested. They do work just as well. You can kind of see there are some gnats stuck on there. Okay. I have a teeny weeny little update for you now. I mean, it's teeny weeny, but it's also pretty big. So these are 2 Anthurium warocqueanum chunks. They're from the queen Anthurium that I've got in my cabinet. When I first got her, she was an import from Ecuador. She was part of my first ever import, and that was before I had my YouTube channel, so I didn't film it. She had the biggest stem to her ever, and so I chopped it off. There was a part of the stem that had no nodes on it whatsoever, and there was a part that had 3. So I basically chopped off about this much. Half of it had no nodes, and then half had 3 nodes on it. I think I have shown what the other node before. So I'd left the chunk as one of the nodes activated and pushed out a new leaf. It started growing, and I mean, that one's not looking so hot at this moment in time. It's not pushed out. How many leaves has it pushed out? I think it's only pushed out 2 leaves, and it's really not looking that happy. But a little while ago, I decided to chop the other chunk into half, so that the 2 growth points, which I'm hoping you can see, one here, were then separate. And I've potted them into Fluval Stratum, which I've not had a whole lot of experience with before. I have had these in Fluval Stratum for, when did I get it? Maybe 3 months, 3-4 months now. And before, the nodes had not activated, and now they have. They've absolutely activated. They are really slow. There are no roots on these chunks. No roots whatsoever. It's literally just the chunk, the power in the chunk that is pushing those growth points. I think if you've ever grown an anthurium from a chunk like this, if you watch the node closely, it kind of I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like a first bulge comes and a second bulge comes, and then a third one, and eventually it'll turn into like the new leaf. I think we're on like the third bulge. I don't know how many we're going to have to go through to get to the new leaf, but I'm hopeful that they're going to sprout soon, and I'm not going to keep these. Like, I am going to kind of pass them on, sell them, trade them. I don't know whether to, like, I could list them on my eBay now. I guess I think I would rather get them growing a little bit first, but if any of you are really interested in continuing this growth from this point, let me know. I'm happy to chat about that. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of update you. These aren't the only things I've got in Fluval Stratum. I did start a video about Fluval Stratum and my experience with it, and I think I might not have the original footage anymore, but I might do a bit of an update because there's a couple of different plants. I was trying Anthurium, Philodendron and Hoya in Fluval Stratum to see what kind of grew the best. Like, it was just something I was really curious about because I've seen loads of good things, but it seems to have activated these nodes. So hang on, I got that queen back in April. Was it April last year? I think it was April 2022. I, like, on import, I kind of let it settle in for a bit, and before I potted it up into its kind of what the pot is still in now, I chopped off the stems. That might have been like July time, I think. And yeah, so these haven't done anything in nearly a year basically, but I've put them into Fluval Stratum, they started doing something. So I don't know, seems to be working for these guys. The next update I've got for you is another Anthurium. This is my Anthurium sagittatum, and you can see that it has 3 leaves, 2 of which are not looking too hot. I am absolutely definitely going to remove this one. Removed. That's not serving me anymore. It's just kind of getting in the way in the cabinet, so I'm really happy to be done with that one. This leaf was the first leaf it put out in my care. This was another Equigenera import, by the way, if you weren't familiar. This was the first leaf it put out in my care, and I was shocked by the size of it. I mean, hang on. When it came, a lot of the leaves were this size, so you can see the size difference. So I was shocked by the size. I freaking love the like sinus and the lobes on this plant. It's so cool, and the petioles are amazing. I think it's 5-sided. I don't know what the name is for that, but oh, I love it so much. It's really like sharp and interesting to touch, and so is the veining on the backs of the leaves. They're really prominent and quite sharp to run your fingers over as well, and I enjoy plants that have like a bit of texture to them. But the update was the new leaf, obviously, as you can see. I mean, again, look at the size of these petioles. I feel like when Anthuriums put out quite long petioles, usually the leaf with them is quite big. You can see that this one's still hardening off. It's got another amazing sinus and lobe situation going on. I love it. Like, isn't it so cool? Like, I know this leaf's kind of, I mean, it's not the worst looking leaf ever, but this happened because I let it dry out. I told you that's a classic story here, but let me show you up close this leaf. Like, look at the texture of that. Look at the detail. I love it. I am such a fan, honestly. Let me show you the roots. So I've got it in this tall clear vessel. Loads of people always ask me about where I get my clear vessels from, and I get them from places like Home Sense, which I think in the US is Home Goods, like the TK Maxx, TJ Maxx kind of home shop. So yeah, Home Sense, TK Maxx. I get jars from places like B&M and The Range. Like, I'm pretty sure this is a storage jar. Like, they sell you know, jars for like pasta, rice, tea bags, usually with a lid. This is that, so like £3 for a glass jar, normally with a lid. I don't tend to keep the lids, obviously I don't need them. I also get glass jars from sometimes charity shops, not, depends on the time of year. Facebook Marketplace can be quite a good place to look as well, especially this time of year and like over the next couple of months, because people always buy glass jars for weddings to put like candles in. So that's definitely a hot tip. Check your Facebook Marketplace, your Gumtrees. I don't know what the equivalent websites are in the US. Craigslist? I don't know. But yeah, that's where I get my glass vessels from. This is the root situation and the substrate situation. I'm sorry about the glare. It's so hard to like, oh, there we go, show you. The roots are really healthy and happy. I've got a leca water reservoir layer down there, which if it's not got water in it, that's when those crispy leaves start to show up. So I think it is quite a thirsty plant. But I'm loving the way this one's looking. Really, really do. I need to rearrange my cabinet, which I definitely keep saying. I've got some new lights to set up. I'm procrastinating doing that. I'm not gonna lie, it feels like a really big task. But I need to get this one better situated because I don't want it to keep leaning. I want it to be like a bit more upright. Next is a plant that I don't think you've seen in a little while. It is my Monstera Brazilian common form. Monstera deliciosa Brazilian common form. Monstera Brazilian common form. I never know the full name of this. This was another one that got imported for the shop. I chopped it and kept a little section for myself. If the person that brought the other section from me is watching this, I would love an update. I would absolutely love to see how your part is doing, because I'm so curious. This is what mine's looking like. It's spread itself out. I absolutely need to get this on a pole, and I've been thinking I need to get this on a pole since like this leaf came out. So this was one of the original leaves, which is probably the only leaf that you can really see. If you are familiar with like monsteras, you will probably be able to see the difference, but if you're not, you probably won't be able to tell that this is any different to a deliciosa, but there is slight differences. It, like, the leaves themselves are a bit thicker, and the is this fenestrations, or is there a different word for this? I feel like I keep hearing people say a different word for this, and that fenestrations are the middle. I need to, if I find the information out, I'll put it on the screen. But what the splits, whatever these are actually called, they're a bit deeper in. Like, the mature versions of these look incredible, incredible. So it, even though so this was a top cut, the top did like, it like died off basically from being chopped. I guess it was just a bit stressed, so it did have to start again. So this was the first leaf out, and then this one was the second one. I was like, right, I need to get it on a pole, and I did not. We are now 3 leaves later, so this was the next one. I don't know why this edge started to crisp up, I really don't, but you can see that we had some fenestrations. And then the next one out was this one. Oh, my light's just gone off. The battery must be out. Hope you can still see okay. This was the next one. Another fenestration, whatever it's called. And this is the latest one. It's not hardened off yet. We've got a really long aerial root reaching for something, and it's wonky as heck. So over the next couple of weeks, I have some poles to make. If you're watching this and wait, if you watch this video and you watch my August updates video, please comment in that one and say, did you put a pole on your Monstera Brazilian common form? Like, if I haven't by the end of August, I'm gonna be mad at myself. Like, but if I think that someone might be keeping an eye on me there, might actually do it. Sometimes I need somebody to keep me accountable. So please, anybody, ask me in that next video. I want to get this on a pole to try and straighten it up a little bit, give it some support. I mean, I don't know how I'm going to put that root into a pole, to be honest, because it's definitely sticking out, and I just need to repot it in general. It's so dry. It's so dry. But look. Oh my God. Look at all of those roots. Oh my goodness. I might even struggle to get that out. Crikey. Oh God, I need to do something with this soon. This needs to be like in the next week. I'll have a plant chores video coming out very soon. So the last update I've got for you is one that you would have seen in, I can't remember if it was about the June favourites or the June updates video, but it is my Philodendron Florida Beauty. Oh my goodness, look at that new leaf. Isn't it stunning? Isn't it stunning? I think in like last month's video, I was showing you this one and I was just kind of comparing it to the old ones that have come out, which are kind of, you know, they're creamier in their colour, in their variegation. They're still really pretty, but that leaf, it blew me away. Like, I mean, the shape of it, sorry, is ridiculous. Like that, I find that absolutely hilarious. But the contrast between that green and the yellow, stunning. And it had the caterpillar in that video, and I was excited about the size. How stunning is that? Look at the difference, the size difference. You can see it's not hardened off yet, but how beautiful is that? I'm speechless. It's so pretty. Like, I was showing Steve this morning, I was like, I'm excited for it to finish hardening off and for this bit of green to be as dark as this one, and for then this kind of lime green to go to the yellow. And he was like, I actually think I prefer it this colour. And I love, if it stayed that colour, I'd love that too. I'm just expecting it to harden off to the kind of dark green and the yellow, but I'm sorry, is that not the most stunning leaf? I love it. It's got everything I love about variegated plants. I love it when there's kind of like the blocky sectoral sections, but it's also got the kind of speckled blending in. I'm so happy I finally figured this out. We've definitely had a journey. We really have. I really thought I wasn't going to be able to grow this. I'm so happy with it. I've been good at keeping on top of watering the moss. Are there any roots that I can show you? Not yet, I don't think, but I can see. I don't know if I'll be able to get up close enough. I don't think I'm going to be able to get close enough, but on either side of the node, there are roots growing into the moss. So I'm excited to see these leaves like size up. Oh, I'm so excited about it. I could, the amount of time I just spend looking at this plant in the grow tent, it's been a lot of time recently. There's been a lot of hand actions going on in this video, hasn't there? I'm sorry if that's distracting for you. I'm going to put this one down now. One last look. Oh my God, she's so pretty. Okay, that was all of the plants. That was all of like my favourites and all of the updates that I wanted to show you for this month. If you're still watching, that must mean that you are intrigued to hear what my update is that is not plant related. And I want to say thank you for carrying on watching this video to hear a little bit more about me. So my update for you is work related. I had an interview yesterday for a new, I suppose it's a new role as opposed to a new job, and I got it. Ow! Ow! I'm not going to show you. This is like typical chaotic interruptions in my life. I'm not going to show you because it's like my foot, and I know lots of people don't particularly like feet, but I've just like, I'm not wearing socks, or like I'm barefoot, and I've just like don't know, scrunched my toes up on the floor, and ow, this went into my foot. I'm bleeding a bit. This is a spine, and this is such an interruption to my update. This cactus spine has now been in me twice. I need to just put it in the bin. Last week when I was filming, and I was filming about chopping my Albo Monstera and moving my Monstera Thai constellation, at the beginning of that video, I think it's the beginning, I'm sat on the floor with my Thai, and after like filming that bit, I like shuffled forward so that I could get up, and this went in my bum. Literally went into a butt cheek. That was really painful. Obviously I took it out and I put it onto one of our cork coasters and clearly forgot about it. I don't know how it's ended up on the floor again, but it's just gone into my foot. Literal chaos. My life is a shambles most of the time. It's so sharp, so painful. Anyway, I've kind of forgotten where I got to with my update. So interviewed for a new role, I got it. I think that's where I got up to, wasn't it? So I'm a mental health nurse. I am a band 6. So when you qualify as a nurse, you're a band 5 in the NHS. And then, I mean, you can stay at band 5 if you want to, or you can kind of like work up. There's different bandings for kind of different experience, different roles within the NHS. So I was a band 5. I then moved to the job that I'm in now. So I worked in an inpatient unit for children and adolescents, and I was band 5 there. And then I was actually seconded into the role that I'm in now. A secondment is, I mean, you can have a secondment for lots of different things, but it's supposed to be like temporary. So you go and then you come back to the role that you're in. But the opportunity came up for me to stay where I was, and I was really enjoying it. So I stayed. And I've been in this role, the band 6 role, for 2.5 years now, which is the longest I've ever stayed anywhere, which I now know is related to ADHD. That I've never, I think before, I mean, uni is the longest thing I've ever done, which is 3 years. Before that, I'd only ever stayed in jobs for like 2 years. So 2.5 years in this job's pretty good going. And it was getting to the point where I was feeling a little bit antsy, I suppose. Like I wanted something different. I'd started looking at other jobs. You probably know, if you're familiar with my channel, that I have ADHD. I also probably have autism, but neurodivergence is something I've always been really interested in. Even before I realised I was neurodivergent, it's always been like a bit of an interest and a passion for me. And a role had come up in the adult ADHD mental health team, and I was considering applying for that. That was another secondment, and I mentioned that to my boss, and she was like, I'm not going to stop you, but let me see what we might be able to do here, because there had been a few like conversations around me taking a bit of a lead role, because this is my interest, and I think it's really important for employers to work with their like staff's strengths and their interests, because it makes you good at your job if you're enjoying it and you're interested in it. Anyway, a band 7 role came up in my job, like in my workplace, and when you're a band 7 in the community, you usually do have a bit of like a lead role within the team. And so I applied for it and I got the job, and so it means I'm still going to work in the team that I'm working in now, so specifically the eating disorders team. But some of my time is going to be also spent working with the whole of my teams, like the whole of the CAMS team that I'm in, as kind of a lead within neurodivergence. I'm so excited. and I'm just feeling particularly like buzzy, enthusiastic. I'm really proud of myself. When I qualified, I didn't think I'd get to be a band 6, to be honest. So to be a band 7, I left that interview and on the way home I was like, I should have said this, I should have said that. I'm probably haven't got it. I'd convinced myself by the time I got home. I'd convinced myself that I hadn't got it, and then my boss called me to tell me that I had. And yeah, I'm really proud of myself. I really am. Like, this job's been really hard. I've really struggled, but I know I'm good at it, and I'm excited to advocate more for people who are neurodivergent and create I suppose like a pathway for those people, like a treatment pathway for people who are neurodivergent, who are struggling with their mental health, because there isn't always that kind of support out there for people. So yeah. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling. Thank you very much if you sat through that update. I really I appreciate just being able to talk about it. I'm so excited, honestly. I can't wait. I really love making a difference, a positive difference to people's lives. Like, it feels so good. It feels so good. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not already, please subscribe. I think I've got some like pretty exciting videos coming up. I'm doing a trade with Michaela, who I've bought some plants from before. She's Please Send Nodes on Instagram, and she's got an Etsy shop. Again, we'll have her linked below. I've got a trade with her coming up, and I'm going to go through the whole process of like me preparing the plant I'm sending to her, packaging it up, so you'll see how I package my plants, and I'll do an unboxing for when I get the one that I've traded for. So that's exciting. I absolutely need to do my plant cabinet and shelf reset, so that's going to happen. I've got like a few different things, like creative ideas of how I want to display things, so it could be a bit of trial and error, but if you're interested in seeing that kind of setup, stick around, make sure you're subscribed, turn on that bell so you don't miss it. And I've also got something I'm really excited about. I've also got an Equigenera order coming very soon. I think it's being sent out next week. So when you're watching this video, this week at some point it's being sent out. This is going to be good. I think I've got 12 plants coming from Equigenera. 12. I placed that order kind of as like it's like a birthday present to myself, because my birthday's at the beginning of August, and also a bit of a 1 year on YouTube, well done for making it kind of present to myself again. Because so I set up my channel on the 1st of August, and I good grief, that wind. I posted my first video on the 10th of August last year, so we are nearly hitting the year mark for my channel, and I'm very excited about that. So yeah, the Equigenera order is a little bit of a birthday present / year anniversary present to myself. But I will of course be doing the unboxing for a video for you, so stick around, subscribe, turn on the bell notification if you're interested in seeing that video. I've just realised I've been recording for nearly an hour, so I'm going to stop talking. This video is not supposed to be a long one. I will see you in my next one. Bye!